How's it going, good people? Today's agenda, I was actually doing some work on the Falcon Pi Player Weather Monitor plugin. I ran into an issue and I wanted to show you how to do something within PHP. This particular thing has to do with Falcon Pi Player specifically and the National Weather Service API. Thank you for checking out this video. My name is Kenny, and if you've never been here before, I talk about technology, software development, and actually do software development here on the channel. Now, what I wanted to cover was this. So I'm coding a PHP plugin for the Falcon Pi Player. The purpose of this plugin is to give users of the Falcon Pi Player the ability to have the player monitor the weather conditions and automatically stop the show if certain conditions are met. The National Weather Service API has a limitation when it comes to getting the coordinates for getting the weather conditions for a specific GPS coordinate. And that limitation is that the latitude and longitude cannot be more than 4 decimal places. If it is, it will throw an error and all goes downhill from there. What I found was to use the bcdiv method in PHP. So I have the latitude and longitude that is being acquired from the Falcon Pi Player settings. Now, Falcon Pi Player does not have this limitation on how many digits after the decimal place can be put there. Thus, I'm reading the file from the settings, and then I'm passing it into bcdiv. Now, if you're not familiar, and I had to go pull up the PHP documentation because when you're not sure, always check the documentation. It makes things so much easier. bcdiv divides 2 arbitrary precision numbers. You give it number 1, number 2, and then a scale, which defaults to none, and then it gives back a string. So the dividend and the divisor are num1 and num2 respectively, and then this is an optional parameter which is used to set the number of digits after the decimal place in the result. So if we're taking this piece of information, I'm going to try to see if we can get this side by side real quick. All right, so we have it side by side, and we close the sidebar. All right, so using the bcdiv, and it works like this. So we have number 1, which is our latitude. We want to divide our let's try this again. We want to divide the latitude by 1. So we get the number that we put back in because anything divided by 1 is itself. And then we want to limit the number of decimal places to 4 because that's what the National Weather Service API limit is. And we do this for both latitude and longitude. Now you're probably asking, well, what if it's only 2 digits after the decimal place? Perfectly fine. It doesn't matter, but the National Weather Service doesn't want more than 4 digits after decimal places because of the fact they have this grid system that is not set up for more than 4 digits. This is then placed directly into the URL as a route, and then the API call to get that information is made to the National Weather Service, to which then is returned. The response is returned back to the caller. That said, that's how you can take a longer number and then shorten it to a specific number of decimal places in PHP. Now, the thing is, it does not return this out as a decimal. As you see here in the documentation, this actually returns a string. Now, in my particular use case, this works perfect because of the fact I need a string to go in this URL or this route. Now, if you're doing or trying to do some kind of rounding or something else of that nature, you'll want to then take this string and then convert it to some sort of numeric value, whether it be an integer or a double. Although I do not believe those are types in PHP. But if you wanted to convert it to that, you can do it from that point. Otherwise, it will be a string. If you try to add 2 strings together, you will not get a numeric value. You will end up with a concatenation of those 2 digits put together. That being said, this explains how to use bcdiv. Any comments or questions, feel free to drop those below. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and follow, and see you in the next video.